The biggest impact of AfL that I've found is the planning of lessons. So it helps you structure, it helps you think, right, how am I going to start this lesson? How am I going to get the students to actively engage in their learning? And also throughout the lesson you can use AfL techniques to check, reflect.
It forces students to answer better. So it draws more information out of the students and allows them to justify themselves in a far more sophisticated manner. Whereas prior to that, maybe you weren't sort of, demanding as much of them. So I think these new question techniques have helped improve what you can get out of the students in a lesson.
I think overall it's actually slowed the lessons down in the fact that we're more precise with what we cover in the lessons. And I think it's given the pupils the opportunity in the lesson that we're teaching in to confirm with themselves and me that they do understand.
The strategies I've used have enabled me to see how quickly students are progressing and how well they're progressing. I've been able to move on a lot quicker with some of my classes.
For myself, certainly it's made me more reflective, made me think about what I'm doing, break down the process of my lessons, but particularly working out and assessing where students are at particular points in the lesson, whether or not they're with me or not. And I think before the TLCs, I just carried on regardless.
In the past, before this started, I would just give the questions to the kids who put their hands up, just simply because it was easier. But now I'm very aware that that's not an option, and I have to make sure that everybody in the classroom is learning.
It makes sure that the students know that they're going to get picked, because it's quite difficult. Even though you try and target all of the students, there might be one student who you choose less than the others, and this makes sure that they're all awake. And I've noticed that all the students were a lot more perky when I start asking questions and pulling their names out of a hat.
Questioning is a big thing that I've improved, I think, since I've started the TLC process. How you actually question a student, and the waiting time, the thinking time, allowing them to think. So you have to reflect on your own practice there, because I think it's habitual almost to interrupt a student if they can't answer the question.
Students are now aware that they're going to be tested in some kind of way in terms of their progress, either of the lesson or of a few lessons. They've got very used to it now, and certainly things like peer assessment are commonplace, and their skills as peer assessors have increased, for example. They're also aware that in a lesson there's going to be some kind of traffic light activity where they're going to assess their own learning, or the teacher's going to assess how far they've come.
Within 4 or 5 questions using whiteboards or pupils coming up to the board, you can tell very quickly whether pupils understand or not, and then based on that you can very quickly adapt your lessons or provide more information.
It's made me a lot more confident teaching, it's made me a lot more focused, it's made me want to try and do group work and things like that when I haven't possibly done it before. It's made me want to empower the kids more.
My practice has seen what I would say is an organic change. It hasn't been a radical change. I haven't come into the classroom following Dylan Williams training or any TLC meetings that we have in school and thought, right, I'm just going to change everything now, because I don't think the students would benefit from that. What the TLCs have done have given me an opportunity to try different strategies. Some work, some don't, but that's the nature of the TLCs.
I've become less of a talker and more of a sort of encouraging doing, which has been really good. And the TLC's improved my confidence in that, because sometimes I felt as a teacher I should be stood up teaching, and now I feel my role as more of a facilitator, like getting the kids out, and that's okay.